Am I the a-hole for not inviting my family to my wedding because of something I overheard them say? I wanted to take a second to answer a couple of questions I got asked, and provide a bit more context. Why was I even spending time with them to begin with, and why did I think things would be any different now than in the past? Well, when I left my ex-husband, the pandemic had just started, but it had not yet become the massive, life-changing thing that it eventually did. I needed a place for my child and me to stay while we figured out something else, but my industry was majorly affected by the lockdowns, and it never really recovered. So I stayed here. Midway through all of that, my grandma got sick, and it was clear she would not be here much longer. At the end of 2020/beginning of 2021, I committed to staying with her in my parents' home because I still was not working like before, so I helped her and spent time with her in between her home health team being with her. My grandmother was not the nicest person, but she had grown up in a war-torn country and witnessed a genocide that took her loved ones from her, and mental health care was still so stigmatized then. I guess I never blamed her for the way she was, and I know she regretted a lot of decisions she had made in her life. No use being mad at a dying old lady, I thought. I know she meant well, and she just wanted the family to get along. The rest of the family would visit her at our house, and they were never overly kind to me, but they seemed cordial enough. So much time had passed that I thought maybe the way they viewed me had changed. It had not, and now I realize that they just did not want to cause Grandma any extra stress in her final days by being cruel to me in front of her. I am thankful they did that for her, even with everything else that happened and was said. Finally, I know a lot of people felt like it was obvious that I was not really in the wrong here, but when you grow up a certain way, it is hard to remember that some things that seem normal to you are not normal to everyone else. Thanks, everyone, for your kind words. I appreciated them all. I'm going to start with some info that I believe is important for context. I will try to keep it as short and simple as possible. My mom is one of 14 children, and she moved here, to the USA, near a major city, with her family when she was about 7 or 8. They are from what is known to be a fairly conservative place in the world, and they have always followed a very conservative religion, to the point that most of my aunts and uncles only married people who were from the same country and or people from the same church. Out of all of us in my generation of the family, my cousin, let's call her Marie, and I are the only girls. She is about 2 years older than me, and I have a lot of fond memories of us as children. I felt that when we were younger, we were both doted on by the whole family, like we were little princesses. As I got older, I started to realize Marie was the golden child of the family. She was, and is, naturally beautiful, tall and slender. She has lighter hair, eyes, and skin than me. She was a talented dancer, and she was kind and devoted to our family's religion. I had a harder time. I was always a bit more stubborn and more plain than Marie. One thing I was good at was singing, and my parents put me in singing classes. In those classes, I made friends, and through them I got into our city's punk and hardcore scene. I even ended up singing in a punk band. For the first time in my life, I was making friends outside of my cousins and church, and I was really having fun. I know it probably sounds very corny, but I started to change my clothes and appearance. I started dressing more alternatively, and I got facial piercings and lots of tattoos. I felt like I finally found a group of people who were not constantly judging and criticizing my every thought and action, and I loved the music scene and the people in it. Marie's dad, my uncle, started to not let her hang out with me as much, and eventually not at all, because he associated my style with drugs, alcohol, atheism, and communism, all the scary things. I was sad when Marie could not spend time with me as much because of that, but it was out of my control. I never really got to talk to her again after that. After a couple of years, Marie got married, and she ended up having 3 kids, and was living her own life. I also got married, had 1 child, and decided that was enough for me. I'm sure most of you will not be surprised when I tell you that Marie and I both ended up in very abusive marriages. No one in our family had ever been divorced before, so it was a surprise when Marie told everyone about her abuse and that she was divorcing her husband. A year or so later, I also left my husband and started to talk about the abuse I had been through. My mom had a weekly Zoom call with her siblings at that point, where they could all talk and spend time together during COVID. My mom told me one week that Marie had announced that she had started seeing a new man, and they had gotten engaged. I had also started seeing a man around this time, but I wanted to let Marie have her happy moment. She got married about 2 months later, and a bit after that, I came to my mom and told her about my new partner, thinking she would share it with her siblings like Marie's dad shared her new engagement. Instead, Mom told me not to tell anyone about it because they might think that I had deserved what happened to me. Essentially, she was saying that because I looked alternative, and my family's perception of that, and had gotten divorced because of abuse, I might have been dishonest with my ex-husband, and that he was justified in the physical abuse that ended the relationship. Obviously, This hurt me a lot, especially seeing how Marie was treated so well and with so much joy by our family after her divorce and subsequent relationship. I ended up accidentally overhearing her on her Zoom call with her siblings, and they insinuated that my alternative lifestyle brought me to that point, that my piercings and tattoos, plus leaving the church, made me inappropriately masculine, and that I was essentially being punished by God when my ex-husband was abusing me. They said I was not submissive enough. My mom did not disagree or defend me. That hurt me so deeply I cannot describe it with words. Now, recently, my partner and I have gotten engaged, and we are planning our wedding. I have no desire to invite my family after everything they said about me. My mom is quite angry with me and believes I need to forgive them and give them another chance. I told her that if she and her siblings thought I deserved to be abused while being ecstatic for Marie finding a kind husband, then I no longer wanted anything to do with them. They are all currently very mad at me, but I truly do not want anything to do with them at this point. Should I be the bigger person here and forgive them? Am I the a-hole for not including them? Final update, for anyone who cares, we took the advice of some of the comments here and eloped last week. We called up a couple of friends and took them along with some of my husband's family, and we all took a trip to a little resort town a few states over. We did a small courthouse ceremony and spent the rest of the time just hanging out and enjoying each other's company. It was perfect. It felt really good to share the moment with our found family rather than just making the whole thing about ourselves. I started secretly moving my things out of my parents' house a few weeks ago, and I am planning on going no contact, at least for the time being. I left my contact information with a trusted family friend in case anything important happens, like my parents getting sick or there is some emergency, so that I can choose to make myself available to them in the future.